This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat and fart. We keeping the foot on the whoop, oh dicks. We keeping the foot on the whoop, oh dicks, and like the Tibetan mastiff that I am, and like the Siberian tiger that I am, I'm applying whoop on immediate pressure. Because pressure does whoop, heat versus pipes. Let's talk about it, man. Alright, I'm about to break this thing down to such a fundamental science because I want people to understand this in its most basic level. Deontay Wilder is no different than Jermell Charlo. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. A lot of black community fan bases, boxing community fan bases, are what we call prisoners of the moment. They are prisoned. They are enslaved mentally in their minds. They are enslaved in their corpus callosum. They are enslaved in their cerebellum. They are enslaved in their medulla oblongata. And the reason for this is because a lot of them don't want to face the truth that they themselves are slaves. Mentally, that is. Obviously, the physical aspect of slavery is not as profound or as robust as it was back then. Let me say it again. It's not as profound or as robust as it was back then. But the mental aspect of it, the economical aspect of it, the financial aspect of it, the political aspect of it is very prevalent, especially in today's day and age. Deontay Wilder is a shining beacon that they hold up, but in actuality, he's a false idol. And the reason for that is because his identity is one of a guy who's not standing on what we call rocky foundation. It's called sandy foundation. Rocky foundation can never be shaken or breaking. Sandy foundation always leads you into a ditch. It leads you into quicksand. What is the quicksand that Deontay Wilder has basically put himself in? The precarious situation that he's found himself in. I'm going to explain what that quicksand looks like and how that forecast makes Deontay Wilder the very thing that Deontay Wilder has not come to terms with. He's not looked in the mirror to basically affiliate himself with. This is the same fate that Kwame Brown is suffering. It's called being a hypocrite. Deontay Wilder is with a Filipino woman. So he has no right whatsoever to be about Black First movement. You see, when someone takes on the mantle of saying that they are about their people, they take on the mantle to say that they are repping their people. They take on the mantle to say that they are going to be the leader of the generation of their people. They have to have things that showcases that. They have to have personal life experiences that denote it. Deontay Wilder was with a black woman. This was his black baby mama. Of course, he didn't marry her. He had kids with this woman. You could see it because you look at the dark skin that's associated with the children. You know they're not from Taylor Swift. But notice when Deontay Wilder gets famous. Notice that when Deontay Wilder is built up, who does he lay up with? Who does he shack up with? It's a Filipino woman. Taylor Swift has done a very good job of masquerading, intermingling the black race. See, black people are the dumbest fucking people on the planet. A lot of them are brain full of mush and brainwashed little heads. A lot of them are enslaved mentally. A lot of them are in what we call floodgate prison of mental bondage. They are in solitary confinement. And the reason for that is because the level of skullduggery that the yes massa has done to them is to a level to where it is basically spewed down from generation line to generation line. It's been a monkey see, monkey do. Black people are so caught up in fucking symbolism to the point to where it stupefies them. And Hosea 4 verse 6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will reject thee. One of the 10 commandments of the Holy Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth, tells you that thou shalt not have no other God before thee. They propagate this shining beacon, this false idol, in Deontay Wilder as a god to them, as if he can't do no wrong. You cannot sit here and get after Jermell Charlo when you have the same fate. But the difference between you and Jermell Charlo is Jermell Charlo is not putting on the mantle that he is basically taking on the black race, that he's basically being the leader for the black race, that he is basically being the guy that the black race can lean upon. I challenge any and every motherfucker on this, because when you stand on cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat truth-teller fashion, you're standing on rocky and solid foundation of the truth. And the truth hurts, but it will set you free. Let me say it again. The truth hurts, but it will set you free. And those whom the truth set free are free indeed. Nothing about Deontay Wilder and his affiliation with Telly Swift gives him validation, gives him certification, gives him authorization, and gives him what we call the ability to infect some kind of ingratiation of him talking about the race. When you put black first, when you talk about your people, when you talk about the identity of us as having a black plight, us being black folks who have been basically marginalized, us who as black folks have been disenfranchised, you have to find yourself being intermingled and basically subdued and imbued with someone that is also disenfranchised. Where's the black woman that you're with, Deontay Wilder? Because it starts and it ends there. If you notice, those that were truly, verily, I say unto thee, black leaders like the Malcolm X's of the world, Martin Luther King, even though he was a fraud in a lot of ways, and I don't even want to talk about that in of itself, because we learn better. As we get older, we learn better. We know fucking better. And when we know better, we do better. But anyways, the bottom line is, when we look at what Deontay Wilder brings to the table, Deontay Wilder is no different than a Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was sitting here fucking white women, but yet he was the we shall overcome. Malcolm X in his past life did that. But the FBI, and see, men lie, women lie, evidence don't, man. Let me say it again. Men lie, women lie, evidence don't. When Malcolm X converted over into Islam, the Nation of Islam, into Muslim faith, they said this man was pious. He was a saint, because that was what we call an actual conversion. That's why I respect Malcolm X so much, because of what the FBI said to him. See, it's not about what people say. It's about what you do behind closed doors. And what Malcolm X is doing behind closed doors denotes, it showcases someone who is on rocky foundation. Deontay Wilder is no different than Malcolm X. He's a shining beacon that they hold up, but really a false idol. Because when it's all said and done, we have to ask ourselves these underlying questions and these underlying truths. Who gives you the audacity and who gives you the unmitigated gall? Who gives you the right to talk trash about Jermell Charlo when you're doing the same thing that he's doing? The fact that you with this Filipino woman, the fact that you have impregnated this Filipino woman, the fact that she's pimping you because of the dent in the skull that basically showcases the fact that you're being pimped, it speaks volumes of the positions that you found yourself in, the precarious situation that you have found yourself in, and the simple fact and the identity that you are not a shining beacon, that you are a false idol. A lot of people are propagating up Deontay Wilder, but they don't want to tell you this truth. When you are about the race, you have to be everything about you. Your general comportment, the way you move, who you affiliate with, and who the fuck you shack up with have to be or has to be black first. Where's the black woman, Deontay Wilder? This is why you don't have the right to talk about Jermell Charlo. Because Jermell Charlo is not even talking about him being this guy that's a guy for the race. See, guys like this, I don't make excuses for them either. But if he's not talking about being for the black race, then I don't give a fuck who he's with. Because that's not his mission statement. Your mission statement is to be a guy that is shouldering up black folks. And black folks are so dumb. They're so fucking stupid that they don't even see the hypocrisy that's associated behind Deontay Wilder's hidden agenda. It's a beautiful thing to be a three-dimensional thinker. It's a beautiful thing to have what we call seer mode. It's a beautiful thing to have discernment at the highest levels and to see right through people's bullshit and fuck shit. Deontay Wilder is filled with a bunch of bullshit and fuck shit. Because at the end of the day, y'all propping this man up, but this man is going to go right back and laugh his way to the bank. He don't give a fuck about you. And he's using this crutch to make it seem like he is for his people, when in actuality, the very woman he's shacking up with showcases to you guys otherwise. Because if you're with and you're about your people, where is the black queen that's standing next to you? And this is how much black people are in such a state of slumber, in such a state of sleep, that they don't get the message. They're not paying attention, or they're not listening, because a prophet is not honored in his own home. And those whom they rejected became the chief cornerstone. Greatness personification can only be hindered. The motherfucker can't be stopped. They're so stuck in slumber that you have black women saying that Deontay Wilder is a shining beacon, which is so far removed from the truth, because he is a false idol when it's all said and done. Because false idols, what they are good at is soothsaying. They know how to captivate you. They are charismatic. They are basically masters of making you believe in them. They have persuasive abilities. They have the ability to basically get you going. But notice, it's to rile your emotions up, not to rile your intellect up. Nothing about Deontay Wilder riles up anybody's intellect. Deontay Wilder was on the right path until he got with Taylor Swift. Notice I've stopped fucking with him since then. Because I said in my mind, I made it up in my mind that once he got with her, it was going to be the beginning of the end for him. Let me say it again. Once he got with her, it was going to be the beginning of the end for him. Let me explain why. When you look at black men and you look at the history of black men, I'm going to break this down to a simple science so people can get it at the lamest terms. Black men have found themselves in precarious situations when they do this comeuppance thing. You know, I gotta come up, so when I come up, I can't do it with a black woman next to me. I have to do it with a woman that does not identify as black. A woman that is basically of another ethnicity. These women, they'll suck you up dry. These women will eat motherfuckers' assholes out. These women will do more freely what a lot of black women find taboo, and they do it too. Don't get the shit twisted, but I'm talking about not as freely and fluidly as these women will. These women will do this shit, they won't even bat their eye. With black women, they gotta basically be into your fucking ass to do that shit. These women don't even need to be into your ass like that. They just need to see the Skrilla. They just need to see them dollars. They just need to see that you're going to be able to take care of them, and they need to be able to see that you're stupid and gullible enough so that when they do create their exit plan, because they will have an exit plan, they will have an exit strategy. We'll get this shit twisted. Tiger Woods is learning that shit. They will have an exit strategy. They will have an exit plan. And when they have it, boy, will they leave your ass hanging. They will leave your ass high and fucking dry. Taylor Swift's gonna do this shit to Deontay Wilder. It's going to be when Deontay Wilder is no longer able to command the shit that Deontay Wilder is commanding. Filipino women, a lot of them are cutthroat. A lot of motherfuckers, if you ain't mess with women, you ain't been around women, you ain't, and he knows everything's done affiliated himself with a lot of different women from a lot of different races. So I can tell you a lot of their fucking tendencies, man. And with Filipino women, they are cut fucking throat. They're cutthroat in a lot of fucking ways. They don't give a fuck. Man, boy, they know how to be chameleons. They know how to camouflage in a particular situation. This is what Telly Swift has done. She's camouflaged into a black appearance to make herself look like a black woman. She went on reality TV to learn. And see, this is why black people don't get it. To learn all of these black people's retarded symbolism ways so that she can use it against them when the time comes. And look at what she's done. She's using it against y'all with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder has no right to talk about Jermell Charlo because the person that he shacked up with, the person that's next to him, does not represent black first. When you are part of a black first movement, everything about you has to be black first. And if it's not, then you take that mantle and you put it down for somebody who is authorized, who is verified, who is certified, and who is calculated to do it. Deontay Wilder's not. So this shining beacon that you guys are raising up is really a false idol. So when he tells Jermell Charlo, I'm going to tell it to your face, you know, you a sucker, you need to shut the fuck up, and I will say it to his fucking face. That's conquer and divide. That's divide and conquer. That nothing about that represents a guy who should be a leader of your people, because he wants to see his brethren in public and embarrass him and scold him instead of having a dialogue and a conversation with him and doing this shit in private and saying, look brother, I love you. That shit that you said, it was out of pocket. Why do you feel the need to have to say that you're going to slap him or beat him up? This is why he knows everything. Told you guys, Deontay Wilder, since Telly Swift has been activating beta, Telly Swift saw the beta in Deontay Wilder and she took advantage of that shit, man. Women are very good at taking advantage of shit like this. When they see it, they run to it, they take advantage of it, and until you gird up thy loins and tell yourself, I'm no longer going to be beta, they're going to keep embarrassing you with the ideal of what you're bringing to them and to the fucking table. Deontay Wilder doesn't understand how much of a hypocrite he is. Because if you want to be about your people, then you need to break up with Telly Swift. Telly Swift should not be someone who you're shacked up with. You need to be shacking up with a black woman, man. This is how you basically legitimize the movement that you so-called are part of, which is to be about your own. Now, I know a lot of black people are going to say, well, he knows everything, man. How you going to sit here and say who he can be with? This is the fucking problem with black people. I told you. They so stupefied to the point to where they don't realize how much a brain full of bunch of brainwashed dodo heads they are. Black people want to take on any and every race, but any and every race don't want to take them on. Look at Black Lives Matter. Why do you think I don't fuck with that group? Why do you think I never fuck with them? Because their identity was of LGBTQ. It was never black. Their identity was about raising up LGBTQ issues. But since they're black and they know how stupid black people are and how much black people are so dumb and gullible when it comes to symbolism, they basically intermingled and mixed it with being black. And hence the movement got popular. And what people don't understand is this is the fate of black people. Black people are so caught up in what Jermell Charlo said. I'm not black. What did he say? I'm not black. I'm Charlo. Okay. So we're going to be so mad by what Jermell Charlo said. We're going to allow what Jermell Charlo said be something to where it infects our minds so much to the point to where we're going to be offended by that? Let me ask you a question. What Jermell Charlo says, does it pay your bills? Does it put food on your fucking table? Does it change your life in any fucking way? Any meaningful way? If it doesn't, why do you give a fuck that Jermell Charlo who is in fucking America, land of the free, home of the brave, so-called, we know that's not true, but so-called, is able, in a democracy when it's in actuality it's really a bureaucracy, is able to say whatever the fuck he wants to say. And y'all hung up on that? Why aren't y'all hung up on Deontay Wilder, who every day is blatantly disrespecting you in your face with being with a Filipino woman, and telling you on top of that that he is about his own? That's the bigger, more hot pocket issue. Why aren't you guys talking about that shit? See, every time y'all bring up Deontay Wilder in a very erroneous way, he knows everything's always going to tell you the truth about it. Deontay Wilder has fucked up since he made the move with Taylor Swift. Prior to that, Deontay Wilder was on some good shit, man. He was on some alpha male shit. But as soon as he got with her, I already know. Because the biggest undoing of black men. You see, this is me coming to Deontay Wilder with admonition, chastisement, and correction. Because I know this to be true. I'm a three-dimensional thinker. And when you're a three-dimensional thinker, like he knows everything, you come to people with truth. A cold-hearted, a unadulterated, and a cutthroat truth-telling fashion variation. Aspect, facet, you name it. Deontay Wilder, just like every black man, the undoing of black men are these supposed exotic women, or these women that are not fucking black. They break these motherfuckers down worse than any fucking body. History tells us this. Lineage showcases and denotes this. They don't give a fuck about you. Behind closed doors, they talking trash about you. They look at you like you are a piece of fucking meat. Because they have to ask themselves, is it true that he's slanging? They look at you like you're a jungle rat. Is he slanging because I want him to fuck me all day and all night? This is how they look at you. They don't look at you with the same level, the way that they would look at a white man. The way that they will even look at their own men. Because they don't look at, I guarantee you, they don't look at their own men that way. But because they've been rejected by their own men, they come to the black man. The black man, in a lot of ways, especially this version of black men, are no fucking different than a lot of black women. They don't understand their value. They don't understand their power. They don't understand their abilities. And because they don't understand this shining beacon that they hold up is really a false idol. Deontay Wilder's a false idol because he's reciprocating the same behaviors that other black men before him have. And you would think he would learn from OJ, right? You would think he would learn from Tiger Woods, right? You would think he would learn from these situations. But he fucking hasn't. How do I feel about Kobe Bryant with Vanessa Bryant? I'm not too hot up on it. I like Kobe, but I'm not. You asked me a question, I'm not. But Kobe's not sitting here saying he's black first. I'm not too hung up on Michael Jordan getting with that Cuban woman, Pietro. I'm not hung up on that shit. But if you ask me, he's not black first. I'm not hung up on Floyd Mayweather and his exotics or his exoticals. But if you ask me, I'm not hung up on it. But he's also not black first. Deontay Wilder has told you that he is black first. When you take on that mantle, there is a responsibility. There is an identity that you have to have. Everything about you has to be black first, including the woman that you with, including the woman that you shack up with. You put that burden upon you. So because you putting that burden upon you, you have to take on the mantle that's associated with the burden. Not burden in a bad sense. Burden in the sense of you're carrying a weight. So if you're carrying a weight, that means you have to carry every responsibility that's associated with the weight. With great power comes great responsibility. And if you're not willing to use great power, then you're not willing to have great responsibility that's affiliated with that great power. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat truth-teller fashion. Deontay Wilder has been propagated to you guys in your floodgate prison mind as a shining beacon. But in actuality, his identity is one of a false idol. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat true teller fashion. Last time I checked, when it's all said and done, keep that same energy, dog. Let me say it again. Keep that same energy. Y'all gonna get on Jermell Charlo? You damn sure better get on Deontay Wilder. Because Deontay Wilder is blatantly disrespecting you black folks that are in a state of slumber, in a state of sleep, each and every single time by his affiliation, his shacking up with a Filipino woman in Telly Swift. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out.